All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to what is now the final episode of CalChiro Live for the year. I know we told you last week was going to be the final episode, but I guess we just got confused. So this week, we're going to try to give away some money. If we don't give away any money this week, that means we're going to go up to a full $1,000. That's a whole rack in Vegas. So if you can join us today, we'd love to have you on and let your friends know that we'll be giving away some money. Hopefully people saw the text messages that went out right around 1 o'clock as well. I got a couple of events just wanted to mention real quick. In the new year coming, the women's retreat is rapidly approaching. So if that's something that you are inclined to sign up for, there's still a few spots available for that. One of the headliners there is Dr. Barb Eaton. So if you are in the Barb Eaton tribe, this might be a good opportunity to network and mastermind with her, get an opportunity to spend some really good time in a cool setting with Barb. So hopefully you'll take that opportunity. We have some events coming up later in the year as well. We've talked about our Seaside Symposium will be in March, so that's a little bit down the road. We have our Legislative Day, April 14th. Sports Symposium will be May 1st, excuse me. We also will have the PI Symposium, that is in June. And then the Pediatric Conference will be August 28th through 29th. And then finally our Fall Conference for the year, November 12th through 14th. So start putting those dates on your calendar. That's a really important exercise. If you haven't started to plan out your next year, you're a little bit behind the 8 ball on that one. So if that's something you need help with, let me know. We can get you dialed in. But I wanted to bring on our guest for today. Let me see if I can bring Perry in here. There we go. Hi, Perry. How you doing?
Doing great, Dr. Phil. How are you?
Good. We weren't sure. We're glad you got the link and everything. Perry's from DNA Vibe. He's one of our sponsors that's been at some of our events over the years, and we wanted to give him a chance to come on board and talk with us a little bit more about what DNA Vibe is and all of that kind of stuff. So feel free to introduce yourself.
Yeah, Perry Kamel, founder. Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here. I've been to quite a number of your events. Always enjoy the conversations. And happy to answer any questions about what we do. But in a nutshell, we're a patented technology, the only technology that actually stimulates harmonic excitation of our DNA molecule. Okay. The harmonic excitation of DNA causes a boost in the rate of DNA expression, which is really the way the body heals itself. We like to call it the God-given DNA-driven regenerative process, and it's all governed by our DNA. If you ever think about the DNA double helix, it's really kind of what's called a spatially volumized sinusoid. Our DNA is a sine wave. Energy travels in a sine wave pattern. That's why we call it energy waves. And so when you align the two, that's called harmony. And when you harmonize, DNA gets excited, goes to work to help rebuild the body. Doc, I am stepping out for 10 seconds while you reply to that to get my cord.
Okay, let's go ahead. I'll take him off the camera there for a second. Wasn't expecting this 10-second break in programming, but I did see his very cool Iron Man background there. I need to get myself a similar Iron Man background or something along those lines. So looks like he's back. Let me see if we got him here. We got him. Okay, good.
And I'm going to show you the background is not digital. It's a wall-to-wall, floor-to-ceiling.
Oh, cool.
We have a little bit of a superhero complex.
Did you have a presentation that you wanted to walk through today, or did you have some photos that you wanted to share, or were we just going to talk a little bit more about the technology and that kind of thing?
Well, I'm happy to show slides if that'll be helpful. I was kind of told it would be like a little dynamic back and forth Q&A.
Yeah,
So, whatever, Phil. I've got some
sure.
great slides I can insert if you'd like.
I'd like to see what it looks like, to be honest with you. It said, I'm looking here, it says PhotoBioModulation. Um, and so, yeah, I'd like to see kind of like what we're talking about. We're talking about like a wearable light therapy device, that type of thing.
Well, so this is ours here.
Okay.
It's rubberized,
Okay.
and this geometry, this elliptical geometry, is computer optimized to fit flush on every part of the human body. You
Okay.
wrap it around the wrist, the knee, the low back, and it's very different from quote unquote light therapy, right? So the
Okay.
the phrase photobiomodulation, for those who are familiar with it, I'd love to show you if we had more time that photobiomodulation, as described in the research, is not really happening at all. Um, this product, you can see there are very few lights. If you look at a typical light pad of this size, it's going to have about 60 to 100 red light emitters.
Okay.
Ours has only 10, and you don't see points of light, you see highly diffused disks of light. So we're about 1,600 times less energetic effect compared to a typical conventional light product like a wearable or a tabletop panel. 1,600 times is a lot less, right?
Okay.
And the reason for that is the DNA molecule, which governs our regenerative capacities, is only 2 nanometers in diameter. Like that is a mind-bogglingly small, 2
Yeah.
nanometers. To put that in perspective, Phil, if you take a human hair, okay, and you slice it lengthwise, and you take half and you throw it away, and you slice the rest in half again and you throw that away. If you do that 1,000 times, you get down to 2 nanometers.
Okay.
2 nanometers is the barrier between classic and quantum realms, and so you need a little tiny bit of energy to tickle that DNA molecule. So we're very low energy. The way we penetrate deep into the tissue is through kind of a special thing called phase modulation of the tissue. A little bit of vibration. So if you had one in your hand, it's vibrating.
Okay.
It feels wonderful, by the way. So that vibration is trembling the tissue, and that trembling of the tissue causes expansion at the molecular level. So the red goes deep at a very low power level to tickle the DNA. Um,
Is that
it's a
considered?
it's
Are you
a
talking about bioharmonic excitation? Is that the concept?
That's correct. That's
Okay.
correct. It's bioharmonics. So, when people who are familiar with energy therapies often quote Nikolai Tesla, right? So, Tesla used to say frequency is the future of medicine. I like this. This is a joke, okay? And I promised my wife I wouldn't tell it anymore. But when I finally meet my maker and I go through the pearly gates, I'm going to high five St. Peter, and then I'm going to go hug Jesus, and then I'm going to run full speed to Nikolai Tesla, and I'm going to say, "Hey, Nick, we figured it out. It's not frequency, it's harmonics."
Ah.
Right? So there's something very powerful about harmonics. When matter and energy are in alignment, it unlocks tremendous potential.
Can you kind of give us the history of that a little bit? Because I'm familiar with like what's called the Rife frequencies. I've heard of Rife frequencies before,
Yeah.
but not too familiar with the concept of bioharmonics. So, yeah, if you could give us the history of that a little bit, that'd be great.
Well, so the Rife machine started really with the work of Nikolai Tesla, who figured out that if you illuminate the body with different energy patterns, you can elicit different responses,
Hmm.
right? And through a process of trial and error, he started realizing, wow, I can help reduce swelling, I can help reduce pain, I can help. And the Rife machine took that forward through an extended study of input output. If I do this, what is the result? And if you do that enough, you eventually build up a little repertoire, but neither understood why that was happening, right? It's like I can see the result, but I don't understand the mechanism that's causing it. And what's causing it is harmonics. where the sinusoidal wave pattern of energy matches the recurring pattern of matter. Harmony in physics releases potential energy and increases the probability of state change, right? So DNA happens to be a sign pattern. I think that's mind-boggling. But at the end of it, like, why is our DNA a sign pattern? Let me clue you in on a little secret from the world of physics. Matter does not occupy a sinusoidal structure by accident. Okay. Most of you can test this out. If you go about your day, look around. You're walking down the street, you're going through your house, look around and tell me how many sine waves you see occurring naturally in nature. And the answer is zero. If you see a sine wave that occurs naturally, it's because of wave particle interaction. And so our DNA molecule, which governs our regenerative healing, it really defines everything about us. Our DNA molecule being a sine wave is pretty stunning, and the implications are profound. It has evolved as a sinusoidal structure for the purpose of interacting harmonically with energy. And so at the right energy pattern, we can actually trigger DNA expression to boost the body's natural healing. I want to point out one other thing about
That's pretty
bioharmonic since you
fascinating,
brought it.
though. That's very
Yeah, it's
fascinating.
it's pretty cool. I mean, the results are amazing, to be honest, because DNA is the thing that heals your body. So we've had several examples of grade 2 MRI verified ankle sprains that are completely healing with a clinical return to sport evaluation within 3 days. Now, anybody who's been in the trade, who's dealt with athletes, knows that that's not possible, right? Normally, a grade 2 ankle sprain is going to be a 3 to 6 week period before you get an RTS. We're seeing 3 days. And, a lot of people kind of scratch their head and say, how's that possible? Well, it is possible because the body, your DNA, is what's healing that ankle sprain to begin with. And then we're boosting that process to help the body heal better, heal more completely, and heal more quickly. We've had surgeons canceling knee surgeries on the operating table after a pre-surgical protocol where people will use the jazz band on the knee for a month to 6 weeks prior to surgery. They go into the surgery and the surgery takes a re-imaging just to see what the state is before they cut in, and they're canceling the surgery on the table. It's pretty remarkable.
Can you just kind of tell me a little bit about how photobiomodulation came about and that kind of thing?
Well, so photobiomodulation is a term that we're not really fans of, Dr.
Okay.
Phil. If there's some 5,000 research papers that talk about photobiomodulation, and for anybody who's familiar with that, who've read the papers, it's basically the mitochondria has cytochrome C oxidase in the mitochondria. It's one of the 9 protein complexes, and the cytochrome C oxidase has a chromophore. Chromophore is a fancy word for receptor. The chromophore can absorb a photon. The absorption of the photon excites an electron. The electron joins what's called the ETC, electron transport chain, and that's basically a microcurrent flowing through the mitochondria that provokes ATP production. So that is photobiomodulation in a nutshell.
Okay.
The problem is scientifically that doesn't actually have anything to do with the light that you're illuminating the body with. We've proven that time and again because the chromophore in the cytochrome of the mitochondria is about 0.003% of the spatial volume of the cell, right? So if what it means is if you shine light into a collection of cells, aka tissue, only 0.003% of all those photons are going to make contact with the chromophore. If it doesn't make contact, it can't stimulate photobiomodulation. So, yeah, this is kind of interesting. Happy to talk to anybody who's passionate about photobiomodulation. But the reality is this, and I've asked a lot of top scientists, why do you think that chromophore is there in the first place, right? If 0.003 of photons are going to be able to participate, that requires that the chromophore is entirely 100% idle. In other words, it's just sitting there doing nothing. But that's not the case. Why do you think the chromophore is there in the first place. In other words, why is there an infrared photon receptor in the mitochondria to begin with? And the answer is because we humans are infrared generation machines. We're all of us, if we're healthy, we're generating 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, right? Guess what? That's called infrared. If I wiggle my pinky as I am right now, you can see me wiggle my pinky from an infrared camera mounted on a satellite in space. Think about that for a moment. How many photons is my pinky emitting in all directions simultaneously, such that a space mounted infrared camera can detect my pinky? The answer is a boatload of photons, and those photons are already being absorbed by the chromophore, which is already kicking off the process of producing ATP. That is the body's natural method of ATP production for example, things like cellular apoptotic regeneration. So when people did the research and they shine light in the body and they see this process, yes, of course, the process is happening, but not because of the light you're shining. It's because the body's already doing that, right? That's why the chromophore is there. The real question is, if only 0.003% of the photons are touching that chromophore, what about the other 99.997? What are those photons doing? And the answer is pretty simple. They're being absorbed by hemoglobin, water, and melanin, right? And the only outcome of that is conversion of the light energy into heat. So all the light pads that people characterize as photobiomodulation are really just heating pads.
Man, I should have studied up a little bit on my physics and my electron transport system a little bit today for today's show. Man, I'm keeping up a little bit, so it sounds like there's a lot to dive deeper on. Let me see if is there anything if people want to connect with more information regarding this. What's the best way to kind of connect with you and start getting some more information?
Well, let me give you like a quick minute on what we call the Shine Initiative,
Okay.
and this is pretty exciting. I think about February, we were contacted by a group of philanthropic investors. These are people who they want to invest to kind of give back. Typically, they'll build a college building and they'll put their name on it and they get a tax write-off. They approached us and said, "Listen, based on what we've experienced, every single high school and college athlete in America should have a jazz band, and they
Okay.
want to fund that to make that possible." So they've already done that. We are launching in January, just a couple of weeks from now. We're launching this initiative where we're going to be donating 1 million jazz band bundles to every high school and college athlete. We're working with some of the top schools already, both at the high school and the collegiate levels. Pretty exciting opportunity. It's about almost $1 billion worth of donation.
Wow.
And as it turns out, for us to build all those million products, we're going to be deploying a manufacturing center in a new community every single month. So pretty exciting initiative. We're not trying to sell anybody anything. On the contrary, we're trying to educate and provide access to this technology that's really helping athletes avoid injury. And everybody knows, if you deal at all with athletes, the primary indicator of sustained performance in athletics is to avoid the injury in the first place. So it's helping to avoid injury, it's helping to boost performance, it's helping to accelerate recovery. And with the vagus protocol, where you take the device, put it over the vagus nerve, you're actually helping to support mental and emotional wellness. So these investors are pretty keen to do this. We're excited to participate. We're not selling anybody anything. If you're connected to a school, or you have kids who are in school, or in the program encompasses varsity, junior varsity, club sports, community sports, intramural, and also for good measure, performing arts. So we're literally out just educating schools, working with athletic departments, and just offering 1 million products. Anybody interested in that, you can reach us at dnavibe.com is our website. You can go to partners, the tab partners, submit an inquiry online. We have a simple form. Or you can go ahead and email us at support@dnavibe.com. If you want to learn more about the Shine Initiative, it's a great opportunity.
Yeah, we'll have to take a little closer look at that. I got some of my fellow Life West Chiropractic College colleagues on here, and I'm sure, and we got some students on here. That sounds like something that the students should really bring to the administration's attention and get
For
that
sure.
in.
And by the way, it's dnavibe.com. Sorry, the support at dnavibe.com. dienavibe.com.
Yeah, Tiffany
You
had
know,
the QR
we're
code up
happy.
there.
We're happy to meet with schools. You know, like we've probably got 50 to 100 already signed up. It's like it's going to be a waiting list, but we can get all of these products into the schools beginning in January, and we'd love nothing more than to do that.
Well, we got a couple of more minutes before we are going to try to give away some money today. What is there any other tidbits that you want us to know about the product or how to connect with you and all of that kind of stuff?
Well, we have a fabulous partner program. We work with about 6,000 clinical partners around the country. About a third of those are chiropractic. They use them in clinic. Every partner gets a QR logo with their own logo on it. So
Okay.
when somebody comes into your practice, they see the product, they scan, they learn, they buy, the practice gets paid. Because we're the manufacturer, it ships to them, it's delivered with your QR logo. And so friends, family, neighbors are introduced to it. They scan, they learn, they buy, practice gets paid. But those people are also introduced to your practice. And if they care enough to buy one of our products, they care enough to come in and see you. It's a really popular program. There's a reason it's grown to 6,000 and counting, because the product educates itself. This QR takes them to a page we build for you at no cost, tells them about the product, the science, what it is, what it does, how it differs, why that matters. And we kind of take that burden away. So if you'd like to learn more about that, again, support at dnavibe.com, or go ahead and fill out the form online.
Cool. It sounds like we've got some people scanning or interested for sure. Definitely got some people scanning the QR code today. So it looks like you've piqued everyone's interest. And I certainly enjoyed that conversation about harmonics. That's I like that. I'll have to go back and do my homework on harmonics. So,
Yeah.
well, thanks so much for being a guest on here today. We may have a few more questions that come up for you as we try to give away the money. If you guys get a chance, will you be at any of our events in the near future?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I think we come to pretty much every one of them, I think, now. So we look forward to seeing you at the next.
Great. And would you say, like, one thing, is this something that we would want to buy for our offices or more try to sell to like a direct to consumer kind of thing?
Well, what happens is doctors will use them in practice. You put a couple in the waiting room, for example. And the beauty of that, like a lot of doctors will say, hey, if you have a 2 o'clock appointment, why don't you come in at 1:45 and pre-treat? Right. And so it kind of takes the edge off sitting and waiting in the waiting room. You feel like you're getting a bonus therapy. And doctors love that. But it's also a great way to introduce people. So they're sitting there, they're using it, they're loving it, they're scanning, they're learning, they're buying. You put one in the traction room if you have that, and then you slide it underneath the back during traction. It's a very nice complementary therapy, wherever it makes sense. And so it's being used actively within practice, oftentimes for therapeutic effect, and oftentimes just to keep them happy while they're waiting in the lobby or getting to their appointment on time or even early. But then once they're introduced and they scan and they take it home, then it starts that recurring process. We had a chiropractor. This cracks me up. True story. Chiropractor in Tennessee contacted our support team and say, "Wait a minute, I'm getting paid every month, like these a lot of money, not a trivial amount of money. And what's going on?" And there was a woman in Vermont who visited her family in Tennessee during Thanksgiving a couple of years ago. She bought a jazz band. She had it shipped to her home in Vermont, and all of a sudden, the QR code for that doctor in Tennessee is being introduced to the book club and the pickleball club and the tennis club of this woman. And this doctor in Tennessee just started collecting all this money. It's really interesting how that works. We know you as a doctor should be tending to your patient and not wasting your time trying to sell our product. So when you partner with DNA Vibe, we've taken that burden away. We build a web page. It explains what you need to tell them. The QR code drives them there, and it sets up a self-reinforcing dynamic where the more people who are introduced to it, kind of the more patients you're going to get and the more products are going to move. It's a real win-win.
Awesome. Well, we may have a few more questions for you, but I am going to try to bring up the wheel right now because we're coming close to time for the day, and I want to try to give away some money. But when the wheel comes up and we spin it, you'll have 30 seconds to add to answer any questions, okay? Hopefully you can see the
Right.
timer, but let's do name number one. Remember, we're going to try to give away $900 this week. You got to be on the podcast. Brianna Velasquez. Looks like you got a customer here of Jazz Band, so that's awesome. I do have a question. What is the per unit cost? 18 seconds.
Yeah, per unit for the Jazz Band Life Pro is $289. Our doctors are typically selling them for $269 to $279, and then they're buying them from us for about $180, or 180, 183.95, that kind of thing. So that's kind of the short of it.
Okay, good. Well, we can expand. We got to do this 8 more times. I don't see Brianna Velasquez here with us today. I think I know Brianna. That's interesting. So let's do name number 2. Diane Jordan, you are name number 2. Let's see if you're here to collect your money. I had a question. Is it for retail stores, or can you sell them through retail stores?
We will. A lot of doctors do on-site retail boutique. We've been contacted by a lot of retailers. We plan to introduce it into retail channels in 2027. But right now, a lot of doctors do on-site retail boutiques.
Okay. All right. So we have a question here from Rachel about adding your name. You should be in here, Rachel, because everyone's name who is a member is in here. So you have to be a member to have your name in the digital the wheel here today. So keep that in mind. But let's do. I don't see Diane with us. Let's do name number 3. Mark Pedroncelli, your name number 3. That particular question came from my friend Mark Buriesi. He's got retail stores called Footwear Etc., where I'm sure a lot of customers come in with foot and ankle problems. He just recently invited me to the Pediatric Association end of the year event and met a lot of podiatrists there. So that would definitely be probably another group to get connected with, it sounds like, if anything. So I'm sure you guys can scan the code, Mark, and find out how to connect here. All right.
And please do. When I said we're not doing retail, I meant large format, like Best Buy and Dick's Sporting Goods are, I'd say, pretty eager to carry our product. We're talking 30, 40,000 units a month. That's going to be a early 27. But for boutique retail or smaller scale retail type stuff, we'd be delighted to meet.
All right. Well, let's do name number 4. Michael Metton, your name number 4. We're seeing a lot of it. See, now we're up to $900, so we're seeing a lot of people on the broadcast. So it seems like when we start getting into that $800-900 range, now people want to get on and start catching the money. I might have to start spinning the wheel at the beginning of the broadcast, so people log on early. So Michael Metton, your name number 4. Let's see if you're here to. Let me just scan the chat. I want to make sure I got all the questions for you. Got some great comments in the beginning about my age from Dr. Joe Ibe. Thanks, Joe. You know, I'm definitely looking a little gray. I got to get to the haircut. I got to get to the hairstylist here before Christmas. Get that gray hair cleaned up just a little bit. So that was name number 4. Let's move on to name number 5. I don't see Michael with us in the bottom of the chat. So Ernest Kim, your name number 5. Kim, lots of new names here today. That's always good. Your name number 5. Let's see if you're here to collect your money. I think I've gotten all the questions here in the chat so far. Dr. Ibe again here talking about our old my alma mater, Bellarmine College Prep in San Jose, California. It's a big West Catholic athletic school that we can get you connected with here in San Jose as well for some devices if you want. So excellent. Sure. Ernest Kim, you were named number 5. Let's see. If I don't see Ernest in the chat, so I was trying to keep up with the comments there. All right, let's do name number 6. Name number Roma Null, you're name number 6. I like that suggestion. I'm not who Mag ZP is, but doing some in the beginning and some in the end, or some in even the middle, that might be a good strategy for us. And then, Dr. Benson, he's ready to win some money. Thanks, Dr. Benson, for being on, buddy. Appreciate it. Haven't seen you since we had our awesome holiday party. Marissa's reminding me that we're on name number 6, Roman Null was name number 6. Oh man, the tension is mounting. We got 3 more spins of the wheel for $900 this week. Let's see. I haven't seen TJ in here. TJ's usually on here, but maybe he's quiet. He's busy dealing with the kids or something. All right, let's do name number 7. Name number 7. Ooh, Adrian Musavi. I believe I have seen Adrian on here before. Let's see if Adrian's with us. Hey, quick reminder, if you haven't been paying attention to the social media channels, we've been posting a lot about the Uber initiative. If you do lean-based personal injury care, you definitely want to be paying attention to the Uber initiative. They're trying to cap medical for chiropractic and others. So make sure you're plugging into the social media channels. Reach out to me if you're not plugged in. I'll invite you to whatever group is appropriate for you. And feel free to friend me on Facebook, and we'll get you all squared away with that. So I did not see Adrian Musavi in the chat for name number 7. So it looks like we're on to name number 8. Name number 8. Blake Brown. Oh God! Now I'm starting to see some newer faces. Dr. Jess Pontius is with us today as well. Thank you so much for being on the broadcast. Blake Brown, you are name number 8. That was name number 8. Also want to remind everybody, we still have our animal chiropractic legislation coming to the precipice next year in terms of getting it signed into law. So make sure you're talking to Dr. Marissa Palmer, our head of governmental affairs, for that. That's an important piece of legislation that we have worked really hard to move forward, and I feel like it's just moving. It's moving well, but we gotta make it happen. So we're at the goal line. All right, that means we are on name number 9. So name number 9 coming up. Okay, Maggie Pozeshkian. I think I did pretty good with that, actually. Maggie Pozeshkian, you're name number 9. Let's see if you're here to collect your money. If Maggie's not here, that means when we come back in the new year, we will have $1,000 up for grabs. $1,000. So that should make you get out of bed after all your New Year's celebrations. I guess you'll have a few days to recover. So name number 9 was Maggie Pozeshkian. Oh my gosh. I see. Is that Mags ZP? I was just wondering who Mags ZP was. It looks like we have a winner. Congratulations. I want to know if I pronounced Maggie Pozeshkian well. That's what I really want to know. Congratulations, Maggie. You are the winner of $900.
Woo!
Well, yeah, we did it. We finally did it. Well, thank you so much for being on the broadcast here today. Maggie, connect with Tiffany. She will facilitate your prize. Hey, and I also want to just remind everybody before we go, you will be seeing renewals for your memberships. You know, we have asked people to not opt out of our political action committee donations, which are super important for us achieving all of these meetings that we're trying to achieve. So please pay attention to that. If that's something that you're concerned with, reach out to me. Happy to talk with you more about it. So thanks so much for everybody who is a political action committee donator this year. Looking forward to a lot of fun next year and a lot of political advocacy on the half of the profession. So Take care, everybody. Have a great holiday season, great New Year's. And thanks so much for being on the broadcast today. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Merry